welcome everyone. We're now in Val di Sole for the second round of the Downhill World Cup. We've been travelling for a while now. We've done a race in Leogang last weekend, and we've also done a few races back in the UK since South Africa. We're using a Cane Creek angle set on Albon's bike, so we're going to take you through how to maintain it and look after it. Okay, so we're now just going to take apart the forks. You don't need to take them fully out, you're just going to loosen them. A key thing when doing a job like this, especially if you're doing it by yourself, is to try and have your tools as close, laid out on the workbench as clearly as possible and as close to your bike, and angle the stand so if you're holding your forks up you can actually still reach stuff, especially if you're working by yourself. Just undo the top nut, which is the preload nut for the headset. Same as any normal headset, nothing different about this. Now, if this has been on for a while, it could be a bit stiff, so it's not instantly going to pop up. This isn't too bad, so popping that off. I'm sorry, I'm going to try and rest it. Now, you've got to remember when you take it off, if you've got any spacers, take everything off and lay it out on the table in the order that you took it off. So, gentle tap with a hammer because it's a bit stiff, and that's your fork out. The concave piece at the bottom here, which sits on the bearing, and this allows an angle to move around inside the cup. So that basically what the fork's doing, as you choose your angle cup adjustment at the top, it allows it to move around like this. So what can happen, obviously the bearing inside gets worn, and you need to take this out every once in a while and just re-grease it to stop any creaking, allow it to freely move. This bearing's been in here a while, it's a bit greasy and a bit dirty, so it's still moving around, but we think it's a bit loose, so we're going to replace it anyway. We're taking out the crown and the race, laying them down, and the actual cup is going to be a bit stiff to begin with. So, little punch, and it's just a gentle tap. There you are. And that's your top one. We're going to wipe all the old grease out and any dirt and any contaminants that's got in there from the last couple of months of racing. This is also the perfect time just to check your wear on your headset. We've got a nice black anodised surface in here. Now this is starting to de-anodise or look like it's slightly rough, and it's maybe time to actually replace it. So you can buy and get these cups individually in the different angles. You can see this is a 1 degree, which can be plus or minus. Ours currently running a 0.5 degree. Clean out each part. So you just want to get rid of all the old grease and stuff. What I'm actually using here is an anti-seize on the outside. Got a feeling we're going to try this to see if it gets rid of the creaking, and it generally lasts longer. Take your new bearing, which is a nice sealed bearing, so sealed grease inside. I always put a little bit of grease, just not a massive amount. I'm just trying to create an extra barrier for moisture, from water when we spray the frames or clean the frames. So just pop that in, tiny bit on top. It just forms a little seal. So you've got your little metal O-ring, and again give it a really good clean. If you're having trouble getting it clean, take a disc brake cleaner or a degreaser, give it a good spray.
Always wear gloves.
Always wear gloves as well. Disposable gloves keeps your hands soft. So reinsert that back in, and then we've got the top brace. Again, give it a good wipe. This has got a rubber seal in it, so it does keep most of the contaminants out and stuff. So just going to rest it there for the mo. We're going to put a bit of grease, just a dab around the whole fork, and again it's just closing the little gap up so you've got a bit of a seal. So insert your new bearing on, a tiny bit again around the top, I mean, it's a seal bearing, so it does have its own grease inside, but a bit of extra grease, and it's not a massive amount. So before we put this piece back on, just give it a wipe down. These pieces eventually will need replacing. As you can see on this, the anodizing is starting to wear off. It's still smooth, so it's not an issue, but again, it's a piece to keep an item on, and you can buy them individually. And then using the anti-seize, I'm just going to dab that all on the inside. And just, use your finger. Again, good idea to wear gloves. So what we're going to do...
Oh God.
That's fine.
Oh God.
So you're up in, basically, reinsert your forks. At this point you can hold your steer and your forks with one hand, and you can pick up the bit I've dropped. So again, now make sure there's no grit and stuff, which there isn't. So you're going to reinsert on top. We get the spacer that we took back off, which goes on there. Insert your top crown back on. Again, you might need to gently tap it, but 1/1 fork goes on pretty smooth. Just a dab a little grease where the threads are. It gets a lot of water and mud up there from below. Top cap back on, lift it back up, and you're just tightening it so it's just tight like that. Maybe another quarter turn, and that's all you need to do. That is a lot smoother than it was. I will then, once I get it back on the ground, I'll put a front wheel in. We'll do a final adjustment to check that the headset's not loose, and we're good to go. So Al will go and ride it tomorrow morning, and we'll then come back to him after his first downhill run and let me know if we've got rid of the creaking, which fingers crossed we have, and we know the bearings are smooth, and he's good for his weekend again.